Thank you. Okay. Well, I have Mohammed on my screen next. If Mohammed has audio.
Yes. So I'm Mohammed. I'll be teaching the engineering 221, electric circuits 1. And I work as a quality and reliability R&D engineer at Intel. And yeah, I came to Oregon in 2018, and it has been 5 years, and I really love the weather.
Awesome. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank
Jeff?
you.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Yarnell. I'll be joining the Computer Science and Computer Information Systems instructor group. I believe this spring I'll be teaching the Exploring Computer Science course. I've had a 30-plus year career in software, working for a variety of commercial software companies. I'm not working anything other right now than just PCC.
Awesome. Welcome. Jonathan?
Morning, everyone. Yeah, my name is Jonathan. This is my first semester teaching here at PCC. I'm pretty excited. I came to US almost 2 years ago to get my master here in the University of Utah, and I work full-time for the University of Utah, and I'm part-time here in PCC. Pretty excited.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So I'll let Madhu take it away for the first half an hour, and then I will go through the rest of the things, and we'll hopefully try and get it wrapped up by 9.
Welcome, everybody. We have a pathway, and the computer and engineering department falls under the science, engineering, and computing pathway. And the pathway dean is Alison Lightheart, and the program dean is Gayatri Iyer. We have 2 admins in our program. One admin is Joni Cunningham, and she's at our Southeast campus, and I'm usually at the Sylvania campus. We have 4 main campuses, and we have 2 admins, so we are split between the 2. The programs in our department are computer-aided design and drafting, computer information systems, computer science, and engineering transfer. The faculty department chairs and their contacts are for computer, for CAD. Okay, sorry. For
Yeah,
CAD, it is
design and
Justin
drafting.
Martinson.
Yeah, I'm sure they all know what CAD is.
Yeah, for CIS, it's Mark Goodman and Rocco Carmela. For computer science, it's Nick Insulata and Lee Liang. For engineering, it is David Goldman. And I think you all have met your respective department faculty chairs. Parking and permits. Parking is required, and we all staff and faculty do pay for our parking. So beginning of the term, you would want to get your parking permit if you are teaching on campus. And the links are provided. Hopefully you will check those links. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Emergency, you do call public safety. Public safety information is provided. If there is an injury or incident, if it is absolutely urgent, please do not hesitate to call 911 first before calling public safety. And we do have non-emergency numbers. And these are usually, if you're teaching in person, they're there in the classroom. But if you're online, then you would have to just keep the slide, or probably if you want a sheet with all the numbers, we can also prepare that for you. Access cards, by now, I think we have given you access for those who are teaching in person. I don't think Jonathan, it's you have all web classes. So you get your access cards, and if you lose them, let us know. In the classroom, there is a lock and unlock key. So you use your access card to get into the class and then unlock the door and then lock it when your class is done. And all those notes are put on the podium, and hopefully the first day of class, you will be guided by somebody how to use those. It's good to take a look at the videos that are provided that give you explanation. So I hope you will take the time to look at the videos. And if you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Any leave that you take, we would request you to fill out the leave form, whether it is personal leave or vacation or sick leave, so that we can get all the information in one place and also make the payment for subs if required. For leaves, please contact your FDCs. And if your FDC is not available, just let me or Gayatri know so that we can help you find the subs and also do all the other leave paperwork that's necessary. Did you need to say anything, Gayatri?
Nope.
No. Do you have any questions, anybody?
Yes, I have two questions.
Mhm.
FTC, I'm sorry if I missed it, but FTC is an acronym for what?
Faculty Department Chair.
Oh, FDC. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yes, got it.
So you
I
met
had that.
Mark, Rocco, and Nick.
Yes,
Those are the
Yes,
people you
yes,
would want
yes.
to contact. Yeah, sorry.
okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, perfect.
Are
Thank you.
bad of using acronyms.
I know.
Madhu, maybe you can make a note to somewhere. It is good that they know the acronyms. You know, we have a spaces page with all the acronyms. If you can make a note to put that somewhere in the
I
slide
will
set,
link it over there. Yes.
that way, you know, it's good for them to know other acronyms, or at least they know where to go look for it, even though.
Sure. Yeah. And please ask questions. This is the first time we are doing it. So we would like to know where we are struggling and what we need to add. IT help desk, the most important number to remember is 4400 if you're in campus, or if you're not in campus, 971-722-4400, or email them at servicedesk@pcc.edu. D2L help, usually we have it all set before the class, but if you do need help once the students are in and you're not seeing your spaces or anything, actually, I will let Gayatri talk on this because I have not seen the faculty side. So did you want to say?
Yeah, one thing that would be good for you all to do if you're teaching in person, it would be good to go into the classroom a week before, a day before, something like that, ahead of the class, and just figure out the podium system. It's super easy. If you watch that video that we had in a couple of slides, the slide before in slide 8, it is really helpful. It is very, it's very easy to use the touch screen, but in case you need to be prepared, it's good to go in and do that. If you run into any trouble, not that all systems work perfectly, I've always found that I go in the first day, there'll be something that won't be working. 4400 is a number to call. So there's a phone at the podium. If you just pick it up and call 4400, somebody will answer. If not, you can leave a message, tell them, hey, this is not working. And usually somebody comes in 10 minutes while you try to keep the class busy doing other things. You know, they're pretty good about it. If you call that number and say, hey, the podium thing is not working, or how do I get this to work? Somebody will come. Now, you can always just walk if you're in TCB or Southeast. I see Joni here. We'll let her say hi in a minute, but you can always walk up to one of us in TCP 312 and say, hey, you know what, this is not working. And somebody is usually there. We are there, and one of us can walk in and try to help you. So there are 3 or 4 different ways, but that's usually where, you know, new faculty kind of run into trouble. But other than that, for the most part, it's all good.
Media services, the same thing. We have 4 different locations and the different phone numbers are mentioned. If you need any additional support, like camera doesn't work, or what else do you have in the classroom, Gayatri? Sorry.
Well, mostly it's again, you know, these days we have cameras, microphones, just to do Zoom lectures and record and send it out to students and things like that. So if you have any issues with any of those, again, like I said, it would be good if you're in the classroom and you want to use it, then I would suggest that you come in a day before, or talk to your FTC maybe, and then say, hey, I want to go over this for half an hour. Can we just see what is in the classroom? Or even one of us, if your FTCs are busy, we can walk you through that. That's most of all that we have in the classroom: the podium, the projector, how to turn on the projector, how to turn it off, you know, and how to use the Zoom on that. There is a microphone and there is a camera, how do you and if you use Zoom, you all know how to switch between the different cameras and microphones and stuff like that. That's really all there is in the classrooms. Okay. And then
Printer code, mail cubby. If you are coming to the campus, I think, Jonathan, right now we may not have mail cubby for you because you're still just doing online. But for Mohammed and Jeff. Mohammed and Jeff, we will have your cubbies in Sylvania, and I will show you where the mailroom is when we meet there in person. And anything that comes for you would be there. I would also show you people where the markers and erasers and all are, because you would need them in your classrooms. Printer code, we will have the printer code. Joni will get the printer code for you both. And you will get an email with your printer code. And one thing is you can print either for engineering, Mohammed, you can print it in ST building too. You can use any Xerox printer to print. If you are in ST building, you can print over there. And maybe I will walk you through over there once we see you at the campus. And textbooks, I'm sure you people have received what you're teaching, the course textbooks by now. If you haven't, please contact your faculty department chair. And I think I give it over to Gayatri.
All right, do you guys have any questions? This is all the general stuff that we've covered so far, right? Like classrooms, supplies, what to do in case of emergencies and, general numbers and all of that.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So in the office space, David showed me that there is some sort of like a flex space where we can use it before or after the session to prepare and such.
Mm-hmm.
So there are no restrictions. Like if anything is available, we just sit there and we can log in and use it, right?
Yes, Mohammed, I can, if you want, I can just make one of them engineering. I did talk to David yesterday and I said one of them I'll just post as engineering and you can put your times over there and use it. No problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And you know where to find Madhu, right, Mohammed, when you walk in to TCP 312. You've been there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Before I get going on my part, Joni, do you want to say hello? Do you have audio?
Yes, I do. Hello, everybody. I'm like just doing my thing, and then oh wow, when I get an Excel. So I'm notorious. I'm sorry. I apologize. But if anybody needs anything on Southeast, yes, I do now have a master key to get pretty much into anything. And we do have some flex space over here if you want to stop in, a couple little tiny rooms. But other than that, if I can do anything for anybody, all you have to do is just reach out.
Yes. So Joni is our admin as well. You can feel free to email Joni for, access cards. Both Madhu and Joni take care of us. It's just that Madhu is in Sylvania and Joni is in, in Southeast, and they have their own things that they do. So it's good to, you'll figure it out as we go through who does what and things like that. But they're both there to help us do some of these things. So after this, some of the things that we go through are in MyPCC and things that as faculty, we need to be aware of. So disability services, and just to give you a quick background, I was a faculty at PCC for 18 years before I actually became the dean. So a lot of these things I'm fully aware of, and it comes from experience of where we've, how we've onboarded faculty and what I have missed in the past few years. So disability services is a good thing that we all should know about. You'll get accommodations from students, accommodations email. So it's good to read through the email and kind of do a one-on-one check-in with the student. That is important. When you get the email, you find the student, email them and say, hey, let's do a one-on-one check-in to see what you need. And if you go through the slide set and the what faculty need to know Google Doc is a really good one-pager document that kind of outlines the email that you'll get. Once you get the email, most of the time the accommodations are, if you go down a little bit, Madhu, it tells you, the first page talks about basic accommodation and all of that stuff. But what faculty need to know, the email that you get the first week most of the time you'll get the email the first week if the students have filed for disability, and it will tell you what adjustments they need. Maybe they need more time on tests, maybe they need, sometimes if they are deaf, they might have interpreters with them. We have one or two, but then most of the time it's accommodations with more time that's needed. So if you need help with D2L on how do I give them more time and all of those things, there's lots of help on D2L. If you go to PCC's website, online learning, and search for videos, or you can always in a pinch email your FTCs and they will be able to help you do it. Also, when you get the time after you settle down after a couple of terms in your MyPCC Cornerstone, there is understanding accessible education training, which is like an hour-and-a-half worth of training, which is really informative for people to go through, for faculty to go through. So I'd highly recommend that. You don't have to do it the first term. I know it takes time to get settled down, but after that, I would recommend that you go through that. So just reach out to the students, set up a one-on-one and say, hey, what can I do for you? What is it that you need? And, make sure that it's all aligned with what you have. Anytime you have questions, if the students come to you without an email and say, hey, I need accommodations, then you need to tell them, hey, could you please go to Disability Services and file for accommodations, because you need to have that accommodation email to be able to help them. So if they come to you and say they need help, then you can refer them to Accessibility Services. Any questions you have in any of these, you can email us or AEDR, which is the Accessibility Ed Disability Resources, which is what that stands for, at pcc.edu, and they are super helpful. All right, so any questions you have on these topics, jump in and ask right away, because we go to different topics. So disability services, that's all I had, but then we have to go through that document. And again, please feel free to ask us, right? These are all things that we just want to let you know there are resources out there, and you don't have to do all of these things by yourself and try to figure it out. Tutoring services. And again, a lot of times students aren't aware of any of these things, which is why we tell you, so you can actually pass this off to students, right? Tutoring services, Jonathan has been doing tutoring with us, so Jonathan knows all about tutoring and e-tutoring, but we have several different types of tutoring services. And usually what we try to do the first week is we try to get a comprehensive video and stuff like that and which is all there. Like you see right there, it says, there's a weekly tutoring schedule. There's a link for that. There is a e-tutoring on the slide. If you go back to the slide, Madhu, all of the links that you need are on there in the slide. So what we do is we try to put a comprehensive thing of, this is the video you need to access. This is how you do it. And we send it out, especially to CIS. And I'm sure we do it for engineering as well. I send it to the FTCs and tell them to send it out to students. But all of these things during the first week, and just keep reminding students that, hey, you have these services available for you. They're all there and you can use it. That will kind of help them. Otherwise, they kind of tend to forget. And also, just so you know, there is what we call digital navigators. Madhu, you might want to make a note to put digital navigators slide here. I totally forgot about that. Digital navigators is service provided by PCC, where students, if they struggle to figure out how to get online, basic computer skills, if they need like hotspots, they can even provide them resources and stuff like that. So I will add a slide, and that comes from, if you just go and Google PCC digital navigators, there is a super good, I'm not, you might want to do that. Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. I forgot that I wasn't doing that. Actually, you know what, Madhu, I will share my screen if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, so if you just go do PCC digital navigators, and where was I? It will come up right there. And then there's a video, there's drop-in times at different locations it's all in person, because students, if they could be online, then they don't need help, right? And so that's the assumption that they all need help in person, so they can go figure out, how do I log in? How do I access? We have Splashtop. How do I do some of those things? So there's plenty of drop-in times where students can go in and just get help. So make them aware of this. Many times, a lot of this information don't go out to students because for whatever reason, PCC doesn't send out all of that information directly. So it all goes through us. So digital navigators is a great resource for students to be able to get help. Switching to the next topic, student concern and care. If students are in trouble, you feel like they need help for whatever. Sometimes, you feel like students are not doing well, or they tell you they have mental issues, or you feel like they are not being very nice to us, which happens as well. Students can be sometimes they can get very, whatever may be happening in their lives, right? We get emails once in a while that say things that we don't feel is right. So then if you feel like anybody needs any help, please, you can email them. They are not going to do anything, in the sense they will look at their records to see if the student has emailed them, or if anybody has emailed about the student a few times, then they reach out to them. Or if you think they really need help, then tell them, hey, maybe the student needs help about this issue, and they will reach out to them and ask them how they can help them. So it's a good thing if you feel like students need help, just send in a care report. If you're concerned, there's a concern report. So if you go to each one of these websites, there are clear instructions on how to send help. If you think somebody is cheating, if they have done it one time, it's always a good thing to just let the concern care file a concern care report saying, hey, this student is in violation, just a first warning. They don't do anything the first time, they keep it, but if the student really does cheat, and they have cheated, and that I let them know, hey, we do file it. So the next time they do it again, then the student concern care faculty and our staff look at it and say, okay, this is the second time the student has done it. So they like to keep track of this, just so they know what's happening. So different types of incidents, but anytime you think students need support in whatever way, please contact them, get help. If you think any faculty need help, you can contact them as well. So we use student concern care a lot when, if we feel like they need help, we do it. Could we reach out to the student directly? Yes, if they're in violation of something, you can reach out to the student directly. But, when the student pushes back, or if sometimes the students are angry about something and they don't want to talk to you, that's the kind of situation where before it balloons and blows up into a major complaint, we tell people, if you think you've done everything you can, and if the student is still mad at you and angry with you for whatever reason, then it's good to file a concern care. Maybe they didn't have time to do their assignments. Maybe they were angry with something. Maybe they didn't like the way you gave them feedback, and you want to talk to them, but they may not want to talk to you. You know what I mean? So then it's a good thing to just be aware that there are other people who can mediate and moderate for you. We found that sometimes they're like kids. If other people moderate and mediate, they will be willing to talk to them and listen to them before they actually want to continue talking to us as faculty. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then these are all the student resource centers, different things that, and this is all information for you. And I try to put some of these things in my syllabus, or just let students know they have other different resource centers where they can just go get support for themselves, right? So that's just information for you. Then we move on to the MyPCC portal, where you will be doing most of your stuff. And I'm going to try and do this after, I don't have any classes, but I might have one of you share. So if you go to MyPCC, this might log me out. You all know that we have that multi-factor authentication, that thing okay. So if you need help using it, just let us know as well. But there are a couple of different resources for that. Madhu, can you add a note? Maybe we need to put a slide on multi-factor authentication. There's some help on how to do some of those things. Okay. So, I see Brennan is here. Hi, Brennan.
Hello, give me just a second to get video up and running.
No worries at all. Take your time. Okay, so in MyPCC, the main thing that you would need to know, faculty tab. Okay, there are lots of other things in the homepage that you have your D2L Brightspace login right there. That is the most important thing on the homepage. You have the parking permit thing here. Drop, withdraw, and grade option deadlines. Those are only, that actually is not for faculty. Let me take that back. That I noticed yesterday is for if you're a student, that's from the student's perspective. So faculty is where we have most of the things. And if you go to faculty, let's see, let's go in order. Let's see what I have here. If you want to know your class list, you have your summary class list. I don't have any classes, but if you go in there, you will see Spring 24. And if you click on that, I have no assigned sections, but you will see your list of CRNs and you just pick your class list from there and it will give you a list of all your students and G numbers and all of that stuff. Go back to faculty tab. Faculty services menu is where you have a lot of other things like overrides and stuff like that. Okay, faculty tab, summary class list. If you want to send emails to students, summary class list is a good thing. If you go to summary class list at the bottom, there is an email class list. You can email your whole class from there. Okay, so I'm going to have to actually, if you want to look at it, I can ask one of you to share in a minute. That way you can see the faculty perspective of it, which I can't. No-show and drop deadlines. This is very important. You must do the no-show policy, no-show the first week. So when is it? The Tuesday, I think. So term starts on April 1st, and then the second Tuesday by 10 p.m. is when you have to do no-shows. That's the drop deadline. So no-show means, again, you go into your faculty tab, you go into your summary class list. I don't have it, but if you go into your summary class list and you pick a CRN, you will see your class list. And you will see under final grades, you have your drop down. Okay, it will be available that first week for you to use that drop down and pick no-show if students haven't done any activity by the Tuesday of that second week. So if they haven't emailed saying that I'm in class, I'm sorry, I need some time. If you have assignments that's due, usually we all have something in it that says by the first week, either they attend your in-person class or they do some of the intro assignments or whatever. There's some requirement in every shell. And if there's not, then you might want to ask your FTC and say, how do I know that I need to drop them? If they haven't done anything at all, our grading guidelines, again, if you click on that link, takes you to grading guidelines. It says that if students have not done substantial activity that you require of them to do the first week, then you're going to drop them. So what I usually do is by Sunday of that first week, look at your list and see if people haven't done anything at all. Email them on Sunday or Friday saying, hey, you know what, you haven't done anything. I just want to give you the heads up by Tuesday or by Monday. I don't tell them Tuesday because then we wait till the very last minute. If you haven't done anything at all, then I am going to drop you on Tuesday. Be aware. Now, if you think that you have done this by mistake, don't freak out because that has happened as well. Tell them, don't freak out. Email me. I can somehow get you in, but I really want you to be aware. So send that email on Friday and then on Monday again. So people know that you're going to drop them and we just don't drop them. Sometimes people don't check their emails, but by Tuesday.
What? What are you talking about?
I know. I sent Brennan an email last night to your other email, like, Brennan, check your Microsoft. I'm so glad you did. Thank you, Brennan.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is what the no-show policy is. And, there are a lot of financial implications, which is why they want you to do the no-show. So please do the no-show. And again, like I said, by Wednesday, if somebody comes begging and pleading and say, hey, I really, really want to get into the class, I'm so sorry, whatever, we can get them in. But that's just so you know. So
when does the wait list close for something? So like, what's the relationship between, okay, student A is going to drop, but student B is waitlisted. We want them to move in. They move in. Now student A comes back and goes, blah. How's that all flow? So
right now, the way registration has opened, you have waitlist, right? If your class is full, there are waitlists. Now, what happens until the last week before term starts, there's a deadline. So term starts on April 1st. Sometime during spring break or the previous Sunday, there is a deletion for non-payment. Okay, so students that have not paid will get dropped automatically. When they get dropped, then the wait list will move. And students who are on the wait list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the order they get in depending on how many of our students that got dropped, and the wait list will open up. Now, Monday morning, when term starts, the wait list stops moving. Okay. Everything is frozen. Wait list does not move. And after that, if students want to be in the class, they need to email you and you need to give them an override. Okay, so here is the part about the override that in the slide that talks about there are different types of overrides. You can give them the override anytime, by the way. You don't have to wait till that Monday morning, but we generally recommend, unless it is a prereq override, you can do that anytime. So maybe tomorrow or today, students will email you or me saying, hey, I need a prereq override. Make sure that you can give them the prereq override, right? And then you can always say, okay, you can go into your MyPCC. Jonathan, remind me of your question in a minute. We'll do that. But if you go to your faculty tab and go to faculty services menu, registration overrides, pick your class. I don't have any class sections assigned. I'm going to stop sharing. Who has a class list that you can, anybody have a class list? Can you share? Okay, perfect. I will have Jeff share. Okay, so faculty tab, and on the right side, faculty services menu. Yep. And registration overrides, the last second one. And yep, spring 24. Okay, now you need a student G number that is on your, what class do you have? Joni, can you look up, or Madhu, can you look up a G number for, is there a wait list, first of all? Can we get any, oh, there we go. So this is your class. Okay, let's put a G number there. Sure. That's a good idea. Okay, so registration override, put in the G number, hit enter, or yeah, something like that. It should populate this last name and first name and all of that stuff once you. So it says, Ahmed Bazir is the name of the student. So say submit. Okay, so now it gives you information about the student. So if you go down, it also tells you the student is registered for other classes, blah, blah, blah. And then what is of interest to us is up there. If you go up, all of those drop downs is what we're interested in. So if you click on the left, so you have different types of overrides, okay? The prereq override is the one that is, what is that? Override, the last one. Prereq requirement is the one that you want to use. If you pick that, and then click on that for a second. We're not going to do anything until you actually submit. So let's not submit anything. So if you click on the course, then you would be giving them a prereq override for that class if you really know that that's what you want to do. Now, along with that, sometimes if once term has started, let's say Monday morning spring term has started and you need to give them an override to get into your class, along with that, if there is a prereq override, you click that, then you can go to the next one. So click on the next drop down, please. The one below, yeah, you can do all kinds of overrides. Class capacity is if you want to, if your class is filled and then you have to give them an override. So if you have 25 students and you already have 25 in your class and you want to still get them in, you can give them a class capacity override. You can also give them a late add override. The late add override is the one that you need once term has started. Okay, so once term has started, and if they only need a late add override, then just give them a late add override for the course that they need, and you hit submit, they will get the override, then they need to go register. That doesn't mean they are in your class. You've just given them the override, they still need to go and register for your class. So the three types of overrides that we normally give are late add, once the term has started, class capacity, if your class is full and you know you want to add more students, you don't have to add more students. And we usually tell people you can add up to 5 students if you want. Okay, by the time you have 25 students, you add 5 students, people drop and all of that, and it balances out to 25. That's what we've seen for the most part. And then the prereq override in case you need. I don't think we all have corrects for the most part. So these are the 3 overrides that we give, and you can give them all together or separately depending on what the student needs. But remind the student that on Monday, waitlist stop moving, waitlist do not move after that. It is up to the instructor to give the overrides. It's up to the student to register. Now, we normally recommend that term starts, do not give a class capacity override because we want all sections to fill, right? So if you have 25 students and you give class capacity override to 3 students and we have a section with only 10 students, and there's a risk of the other class cancel. Does all that make sense?
Be a good citizen.
Yeah. But people, when students come begging and pleading, we forget that there are other classes that need to be filled, and I, as a faculty, am guilty of that until somebody pointed out to me, saying, you can't do that because there's a class that there's a risk of getting canceled. And I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. I was just more concerned about the student who wanted to get into my class, so. Okay, so thank you so much for demonstrating, because I can't see all of those things. And then you can also see below that, whose other class the students is, what other classes are they taking? Does it conflict? And just give them a heads up. So what questions do you have on this? Because this is usually where instructors get stuck. This is a very tricky part, because a wait list, unless you really understand, and the students don't understand either what happens to the wait list. They all sit on the wait list thinking the wait list is going to move. The wait list doesn't move to that Monday morning.
GD, when we inevitably forget the process, who is where is our best contact to check in on, hey, here's the situation, here's the outcome.
Madhu or Joni or your FTCs or me.
Okay.
Okay, and feel free to copy all of us.
Yeah.
The first few times, no harm done. One of us will reply to you and you will get the answer.
Perfect.
And I've been doing some overrides lately, so I'm good at that as well.
Yep. Just make sure the only override that I'm concerned about that I want faculty to be aware of is the prereq override. Just make sure and then double check that you're giving them the right overrides. And you can always drop them, but it's better but they have to drop themselves. You can't drop a student, by the way. Once they are there, they have to drop them. That's the other thing, right? So everything happens on that Tuesday of that drop deadline. If they want to change from their grade option, right, to a pass, no pass, or to an audit or whatever, everything has to happen by that Tuesday. If they want to drop, if they want to add,
So what I think I'm hearing is when I drop them from the class, it doesn't actually execute that drop until that Tuesday batch run.
Yes, you can only drop them in the first week when you do the no-show.
Yep.
Okay, that's the only time you can drop them. Once that deadline has passed,
Done.
like the 8-week deadline and all of that stuff, you cannot drop them. Nobody can drop them. They have to drop themselves. Okay. Okay. Any other questions on that? And the reason I put all the links is students will inevitably ask you, how do I drop myself? And then there's a link there on that slide. So just refer to the slide set to say, okay, here's how you drop yourself. Here's how you withdraw, lots of different things on that. Okay. The next slide, we move on to CPN. This is all more information, but it's good. So here, let me go back to share. And I might have Jeff jump on in a minute if we need, because I don't have a list of classes. But CPN is course progress notification, which again comes from that summary class list. So if you go to my faculty, your My PCC, go to faculty and go to summary class list, each one of the students has a link called CPN. And CPN is just to let them know, it's just as an email. You can send an email, but the CPN is a little bit more official. It has official wordings, and it's sometimes, I don't know, we have asked this several times. I don't know if it goes to the advisor or not, but you can add a note to say that goes to the advisor as well. And usually the CPN was set up so you can send notifications like during midterm and finals and stuff like that. But I found that sending CPNs like every 3 weeks is a good idea. All you have to do is click on that. It'll put in all the information for the student. You can tell them, hey, I congratulate you, or I'm concerned about your progress and you're lacking assignments, or, then you can put a message and send it out to them. So if you're concerned about any students who are not making progress or anything like that, just send them a CPN, because then at the end of the day, when they come in by the 8th week and say, I didn't do any of this stuff, then you can tell them at least, hey, look, I sent you a CPN every 3 weeks, and, and I have given you the information. And so it's just good to cover ourselves, but also at the same time, from the student's perspective, to remind them that they have stuff going on, that they need to turn things in, and you're just reminding them of that. And I also, use it to let them know that they're doing well. So it's not always about what they're not doing. It's about what they're doing as well. And some people, their students are very happy to get that CPN that says you're doing awesome by the 4th week or so. Final grades. This is the next important thing after waitlist. So we are done. Now we are the finals week, which is happening this week. It's very important to enter your final grades by the deadline. So usually the deadline is Monday, 5 p.m. after term has ended, right? And the reason is very important is because there are lots of implications. If you don't enter final grades for students, then what happens is if you, for example, you're doing 278A and their next class is 278B and they've all registered for it, but if the grades don't get entered by Monday, then they get dropped out of 278B automatically. And this happened last term. And guess what happens when they get dropped? And if that class is full and there's a wait list of 10 students, those 10 students will get moved up because these students just got dropped. But maybe all these students got an A and they have the right to be in that class, right? Now what do? You got 10 students from the wait list in your class and the class is full. Now you have 10 students who are supposed to be there who got dropped, right? So you don't want that. You really want to make sure you have your final grades in. Now, the reason why don't people put grades, we have several reminders going in. But most of the time, the reason people don't put grades is like, well, this one student wants an extension. I don't know how to give the student an extension. They want more time. They are begging and pleading that I can't finish my work. I need a little bit more time. All of these things will come up. So what you want to do is make sure everybody else has a grade. Don't wait on one student, right? Get all your grades and save it multiple times. That has happened to me before. You would enter all your grades and then you come Monday morning and you thought everything is there. And sure enough, nothing is there for whatever reason. So make sure you save. After 2 hours, I'd go back and check again. I become paranoid after that. So check it like 5 times to make sure, maybe not 5 times, 3 times, but then you know it's all there. Now, there's always that one student that says, I need an extension, I need this, I need that. There are a couple of different ways to do it. Most of the time, we try not to give an incomplete because 99.99% of the time, students that get an incomplete never finish it. I have like one student in all my history of 18 years that's finished with an incomplete. But what you can do and what we recommend is give them a grade. For example, if they got a D maybe, or even an F, tell them, you know what, hey, this is what you get until now. I'm going to enter it as an F, but have an email agreement between you, the student, and the FDC, and let them know that if they finish this list of work and list the work and say, if you finish it by, I don't know, that depends on how much time you have and how much time you want to give them, maybe by the end of 1 week after the finals week, and say, by this Sunday, if you're done with all of this stuff, I will grade it and I will change your grade from F to whatever it is. You have 1 year to change your grade for that student after you've entered your grades. So you can, maybe they went from an F to a C, or maybe they went from a D to a B, or maybe they did nothing and they remained at F, which means you don't have to do anything at that point in time. So it's so much easier. But the only thing I ask of you is just keep an email agreement between you and the student and your FDC and make sure the student replies saying, yes, I agree to this thing. And then you will know that, you can do it. Does that make sense? And if you enter an F for a student, you must have a last attend date. Okay, and that's a little bit of a pain because there's a certain format and it has to be within the term. So make sure you put that last attend date. You actually can go into D2L or wherever and see when the student actually attended. Or if the student never showed up, then just put in the first day or usually they do. By then you would have done a no-show, but usually they come for the first week and then after that, for some reason, they've disappeared or whatever. So make sure that last attend date is before the end of the term, right? Maybe
is that tracked for online classes?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Well, they don't match it, meaning, are you asking if they?
Yeah, like if I have to go back and reference, do I just do my best guess on a last date or do I
Well, no,
okay,
you
great.
can, in D2L, you can go and you can actually check a student's progress.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go to D2L and it shows you how to do that. You can go to your student class list and you click on the student and it will show you the last login.
Okay, perfect.
Usually check that and I put that in.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep. So just make sure you put the final grades in. If you have any questions, again, please ping us, Madhu, Joni, or me, and we will help you with the final grades. And we will send you reminders. So what we do is by Friday, for example, by the end of this week, we will get a notification saying, hey, here's a list of faculty that haven't entered final grades. first warning. By Monday morning, we'll send the email out to faculty saying, hey, you all haven't entered final grades, please enter it. And we get a couple of more emails as the day goes through. By Tuesday morning, now people are saying, okay, you really need to enter final grades. And we start picking up the phone and calling them because, again, like I said, we don't want, we had panic attacks when students get dropped, right? Then we have to go to the students and tell them, why did they get dropped when we don't enter final grades? So just to avoid all of those things, it's good to get that in. And then, so that takes care of all of those kind of things. And, you know, the most important things that you need to be aware of, there are going to be other things, but like I said, please feel free to email us. Then we move on to your shells and your courses, department specific. For CS, we have a little bit more detail. We have a SAC shell, which is what we call the master shell, or the shell that everybody copies from. A few people have access to it. Every time we change it, update it. And these are the courses that have the SAC shell for. You can usually through 2-3 weeks before term starts, we send it out to instructors and say, hey, you can copy from this. So here is some contact information. Anything other than this, there is supposed to be a link here. I have to add a comment. I have to, Madhu, if you're taking notes, can you put on slide 20? I need a link. There's a course coordinator list here. I know Nick gave me the link and I haven't put it in. CIS also has a list of SAC shells, although it's not quite, I don't think they have it for every shell, but you should ask your FTC at that point in time. If they all have something to start from, you definitely don't have to make your own materials to start with for any of these things. Engineering, here's all the information that David gave me as far as what all you need to do. And I think, Mohammed, you've already met with David. Just meet with your FTCs and they'll be able to give you all the information. And the same for CAD.
GD, with respect to the SAC shells you're referring to, those are like the courses, basically the D2L course.
Yes.
So the modules and the assignments and all that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So there is a SAC shell for, we just call it the SAC shell, which is they didn't want us to call it master shell anymore. So we call it the SAC shell, and it has all the information that, you know, you would need. It is a shell complete. So what you will usually do is they'll give you copy access and your FTC will tell you what shell with a link. They'll give you this link to copy from. And once you go in there, you can just go and copy it. And once you copy it, then it's your shell that you can change and edit and put in all your instructor information and all of that stuff. Okay. Anything else I can answer? Wait, there was a question in the chat. I promised Jonathan I would look at it. Let's see. Does the no-show apply for online class as well? Yes, the no-show applies for all courses, right? So in online, you want to, and here's where you want to check in with if you should be looking at your syllabus. Usually in the syllabus, we have information on what is required in the first week to remain in the class. It is actually part of the grading guidelines and everybody has it. If it is not there or if you cannot find it, you must email your FTC and say, hey, what is the requirement to be in this class? When do I need to drop students? If it is not there, then that is something that the FTC should know about because it is a requirement in the syllabus that should be there so students know what to do in that first week, if it's an online class or whatever the class may be, right? If it's a in-person class, we require that they show up to class. And if they don't show up, if it's a Tuesday, Thursday class, if they don't show up on Tuesday, then we usually send an email right away on Tuesday saying, hey, you haven't been in class. If you're not planning to be there on Thursday, and if you want me to know, then you should send me an email. The same for online classes. You know, that's why I said by Friday, I look at it. And if people haven't logged in at all by Friday morning, I proactively send an email to students saying, and again, you can go to D2L and you can look through the list and see who hasn't logged in, right? There's a login history and it will actually show you course login and system login. So maybe they logged into D2L, but they never logged into your course. So you want to look at your course login and see when they logged in. And if they didn't log in at all, it will say that they haven't logged in. There's something that comes up like that. If they haven't logged in, then by Friday morning, you should be emailing students saying you haven't logged into your course at all. So, you know, by Monday, if you don't log in and finish all of these activities that's there in the syllabus, I might have to drop you. Joni says, suggest to use the shell to make their syllabi so when they submit their syllabus to upload that during the review, their syllabi is complete. The shells usually have the syllabus, right? Here's another thing. That's a good point that Joni brought up. So you all have your SAC shells and in the shell, for the most part, our shells are all done these days, especially the online courses, the shells are all done the same way. So if you go to course information, you have course syllabus, okay? Somewhere in there should be a course syllabus. So if you go to course syllabus and click on it, and if you click here, maybe not. So you go down all the way to the bottom, it has all the policies and all of that. How do you print this thing? You will have to upload this to send to Joni. So usually Joni will send you a form the first week saying you need to upload your syllabus in this form. Click on print and save to PDF, right? And you click save. This is your syllabus. And put in a name, whatever this class is. I can't remember. I think it was 160. And there is a naming format, I think.
Yeah, it's
And
the CIS 160, then the CRN, and then the instructor's last name, comma, first initial.
Okay, so all that is there in the form. that we
Okay.
set up to. Okay? So I just want to let them know, Joni, you're right. That way they're not like, I have to remember all that. No, you don't. It's there in the form and tells you. So you put that format and then this is going to save it as a PDF and you save it. It will be in your downloads folder. You upload that as part of the form. The form has a link to upload your file. That is so we can keep track of the syllabus. So we know that, you know, you've submitted your syllabus. Sometimes students will come to us like next term or 2 terms after and say, oh, I took Jeff's class 2 terms ago. I want the syllabus. Then we don't have to bug you. We have the syllabus all saved in our Google Drive somewhere. And then we just use that. And that syllabus also should have things about, you know, what to do in the first week, right on the top, first week participation. And all syllabus should have that. Must be done by first Sunday to avoid being dropped. And they have to do a few things and just check. And if they have done most of the stuff, then, you know, if they haven't done one thing, then I email them and say, you haven't done the lab, you should do it. And, but if they're on track to do it, then we don't usually drop them. But if they have done nothing and they haven't logged in at all by Friday, then I send them an email.
So just to be clear, so somebody is going to request that we do what you just did, which is to save the syllabus to PDF and send it.
Yes, you will get
So
an
we don't
email
have to
from you.
necessarily remember to do that. Somebody will ask
No,
for it.
you will actually
Okay,
send a Google form.
thank you.
Yes, you don't have to remember. Many of these will send you reminders. The thing is, when we send you the reminders, then you'll know how to do it, right? So yes, we will. Joni will send you the email the first week saying it's time to upload your syllabus, and then you can go save it and then just upload it. All right, so
And you'll send out this. Sorry, you'll send out this slide deck when we're all done.
yes, I was just going to say that.
Thank you.
So we are recording this. I'm going to have Madhu stop recording, and then we will send